What's going on, everybody? Shonen Express here, coming to you with another weekly Shonen Jump newsletter. I'm super excited to get in to this week's magazine of Weekly Shonen Jump. We had another new manga start, so let's just get into it. So the cover this week, as well as the new manga, was a new sports manga called Nine Dragons Ball Parade. And this is a sports manga about baseball. So something that I think was missing in Shonen Jump, and I plan to do a video later this week kind of talking about 2020, Shonen Jump in 2020 rather, and my thoughts on the whole year. But there's something I thought was definitely missing from this iteration of Shonen Jump is sports manga. There was, up until this week, there was not a sports manga running in the magazine since Haikyuu ended. Definitely, the sports manga was missing in this magazine, and so I'm super glad to see them restart, get back into the sports manga industry, because I like sports manga. I'm a big fan of them. I think that they're some of the best character development that I've seen in manga has come from sports manga. So I'm excited about that. And getting into this was a very interesting chapter. Azu, the main character, I really liked. I like that he's kind of nerdy, but when we meet him, he's not in the, I'm a wimpy nerd stage. He's trained extensively by the time after the first 2 pages, and he's ready to go. He's skilled, both physically and mentally. And what I like about that is I think it's more realistic than some other, sports or really even shonen battle manga that we see, where the main character is this weakling but somehow makes the team or something. No, Azu is good. He is physically talented, but by far he is extremely mentally talented. I really like him as a main character. I have a lot of high hopes for him. I love that he plays the position of catcher. I think that that's kind of a unique position to have your main character play, but definitely a crucial position in baseball. So I'm definitely excited to see more about his character and more in this manga. And Ryudo, the other, what I'm assuming is going to be the other protagonist, is, as his pitcher, he was really cool. I really liked that he's this naturally gifted genius that doesn't really try very hard. And so, of course, he's going to need somebody like Azu to, help him understand the game and be able to cope with the things, to cope with the different players that they're going to have to face. So I like the 2 main characters, but all of that said, the plot in this manga really got me excited about what this manga is going to be like. So, at first, most of this chapter is about the tryouts for the school called Hakuo, which was Azu's dream school to get into. The whole time I was kind of skeptical as to whether he'd make the tryouts, but we get to the end and I was super sure. I was positive. I was like, oh, he's getting into the school and this is the school we're gonna run with. But then he doesn't get in. And again, this has been done. That's not what I'm saying is crazy different or interesting. But what hasn't been done is their explanation. So the recruiting manager says, what we need is not an analyst. We need just a physical body. We need someone physically intimidating and strong to play, not someone who analyzes, because we have people, I think he said 50 analysts that their whole job is just to do what Azu does. And so we don't need a player to do that. That's an interesting reason to not recruit him. So he is absolutely more skilled. He beat the other catcher by far, but they don't need his specific skill set. I think that's a realistic thing in sports, as well as I think it makes sense, right, from a pragmatic standpoint, but it was definitely crushing, and it was absolutely crushing to see Azu's dream just crumble. And I love that Ryudo gets in, but then decides to leave and form a team with Azu, and we don't quite know where that's going. I hope that what he means by that is that they're going to just go to another high school and start a baseball team. And I think that that's a great setup for a sports manga. One of my problems with sports manga is that when they get into something like this, they end up having to slowly introduce you to the other teammates. But what that ends up doing is doing things if you remember in Haikyuu, if you guys read that, Asahi, right? We don't meet Asahi for like a good portion of the first part of the story, even though he's a main player on Karasuno. We don't meet him because he's like, they're like, oh, something bad happened and he's never, like, he won't ever play again, and we had to play that whole game. I don't like that part of the story. I'm sure that something similar will happen eventually in this manga too, but I definitely like that from this standpoint, we can just go around recruiting teammates, and it feels very similar to iShield 21, if you guys have read that, where, the team started super small, and we just built from there. So I'm very excited to see what's going to go on here as Nine Dragons Ball Parade continues, but I'm very excited about it. It's a very promising sports manga, and it's my first baseball sports manga, so I'm excited to get into a new sport like that as well. But yeah, as far as other things like kind of happening in the magazine, wasn't a big week. Nothing ended this week, nothing was on break, and there weren't any specials. So there was just this new chapter this week. So that will leave us with just my highlights. So I got 6 manga that I want to highlight this week, and we will start with Jujutsu Kaisen. So the world of Jujutsu Kaisen is definitely getting shaken up in this chapter. The head of the Zenin family, one of the biggest Jujutsu sorcerer families in the world, the head of the family died, and we meet this Naoyu guy who's apparently the heir to the Zenin clan. I really like him. I'm super interested to see what his curse techniques are, like what his abilities are, how he interacts with the world. I've got a lot of questions, and I can't wait to see the answer to them. And I love that when the will was read, it's the specific contingency that if Satoru Gojo was incapacitated or dead by the time of the Zenin head's death, then the ownership of the Zenin clan goes to Fushiguro, which is crazy. So we haven't seen Fushiguro in a couple chapters, but I'm super interested to see what's going to happen. I love that this Naoyu is like set on killing both Itadori and Fushiguro. I can't wait to get into this. I think that this is going to be a really interesting arc coming up here in Jujutsu Kaisen, and I think that this is going to do great things for this manga as a whole. I'm very excited to see more Jujutsu sorcerers versus Jujutsu sorcerers, something that I really didn't know if this manga would ever get into, but I'm very happy it did. So this chapter had to be highlighted. Next, I want to highlight Witch Watch again this week. Now, this is going to be one of the first times I disliked something so much that I felt like I needed to highlight it, right? And so this week, this is only chapter 2 of Witch Watch, keep in mind, and I liked chapter 1. I thought it was okay. I thought, it was interesting. I like the ogre stuff and all of that, but this chapter really made me very scared for this manga. So, there's Nico does the normal, like, oh, we're a guy and a girl and I'm into you and we're in the same house, like all that joke stuff happens, and that's fine, but I like that Mio is just like not, or Moe rather, is just not into it, like he's not interested at all. That was fine, but like what really stood out to me is there's several moments where it looks like Nico is like talking to a camera. And I don't, like, almost like the the talking head sections of, like, mockumentaries like The Office or something. And I don't understand at all what she's doing in these moments. It seems, at first I thought she was, like, directly talking to Moe, but there's no way that's happening because of what she's saying. And so it seems like she's, like, talking to a camera. Maybe she's, like, recording, like a vlog or something, but like we don't get told that, and so I really hated that. I thought that was terrible, and I didn't like this at all, and so I wanted to highlight it and bring it up, just saying, like, I'm not loving the way that Witch Watch is going. I was kind of in the middle about it even last week, and this week it's not looking great, so I wanted to highlight it just to say I don't know about Witch Watch, guys. It's not, I don't know if I'm gonna super love it, but I wanted to highlight it just to say that. But next on the list, I wanted to highlight I Tell C. This is a manga that is actually going in the other direction. So I didn't like this manga all that much when it started, and I'm starting to really be very interested in it. So I was a little concerned last week about I Tell C, specifically because of the strange nature of Aoi's like love of criminals, and like how that clearly just got her abducted by this taxi driver. This chapter was definitely strange. It highlighted how strange Aoi is, and definitely, like, she could have died for sure. Luckily, Sakon was there, but, like, it was very interesting to see. What I liked about this chapter was, like, the motivation of why Aoi, does this, and she, like, feels this sympathy for these criminals. I have a lot of questions about Sakon's and Ukon's parents, right? Like, or their father specifically, he says. What went on there? I want to know more about that. But why I really needed to highlight this is because she doesn't say that she's going to find her kidnappers and fall in love with them. She says that she's going to kill them. So this is the first time that we see her interact with criminals in a way that is confrontational outright. And so I'm super interested to know more of the background of Aoi, as well as the background of Sakon, really just everybody's background. I'm far more interested to learn about as this manga goes forward, but this was moving in a promising direction, maybe a little darker direction than I thought it would be, but it's definitely moving in a direction that I like. I'm excited to see what's going to happen next, and all that stuff. So I wanted to highlight it this week. But next, I want to highlight Black Clover again this week. Again, stellar chapter. I don't have a whole lot to say about this chapter, kind of like last week, but what I do have to say is this new form of Asta is sick. I love this form. I think it's super cool. The visuals this week were amazing. I'm very into it. I love how this anti-magic is coming into play finally in this major way. And what I really also like is there's this moment where it's like it feels like most of the Clover Kingdom is like cheering Asta on. And this is one of those moments, like, I don't know if you guys read Naruto, but like after Naruto defeats Pain, where the whole Leaf Village is like celebrating him. That's what this feels like. It feels like Clover Kingdom is celebrating Asta. They're like, he is their hero now. And so I really like that, and I had to highlight it this week because it definitely deserves it. This was a great chapter, a great fight with this giant like Demon King thing, and so I really wanted to highlight it. And obviously Asta's gonna head off to the Spade Kingdom now, I'm guessing, to help join the fight. So I'm very excited to see Asta in more fights. This form is really cool. He did say he could only maintain it for 5 minutes, but still super cool. Had to highlight it this week. Next, I want to highlight Hardboiled Cop and Dolphin again. I've highlighted this a lot recently, but this week, honestly, guys, I want to highlight it mainly for the visuals. This was a amazing chapter to look at this week. So, Hardboiled Cop and Dolphin just doesn't normally have visuals that like absolutely stun me, but this week it definitely did. So first of all, we got more information about that leg, that it's somehow related to like Poseidon. And so like it has the ability to like slice through the ocean, slice through the sea, I think they say. So I'm super interested to see more about that. But we see that one move where she literally slices like a cavern out of the ocean to get to this door. That was so cool. It looked so good. I couldn't get away without highlighting it this week. It was just too absolutely beautiful to not highlight it. And I love that the MIU are getting in there. Those other members that we haven't seen really do anything yet, they're getting involved, and they're going to be part of the fight here in a minute. So I'm very excited to see where this goes from here. But this was just a gorgeous chapter. The visuals were absolutely stunning, so I had to highlight it again this week. And my last highlight this week is actually Sakamoto Days, which is a manga I don't think I've highlighted at all yet. So Sakamoto, this chapter was really good of Sakamoto Days. First of all, this wasn't quite a comedy manga, although there was a funny part, or it is a comedy manga, but this week it was more action oriented. So we got the Sakamoto's fighting this Boiled guy, and I really liked their fight. First of all, I loved Boiled's like weapons, his little like hand bombs that he's able to throw out, as well as those like pistol glove things. I thought they were really cool weapons. I know that they're supposed to be like dorky and like corny, and that's the joke, but like I really thought they were cool. I mean, the abbreviations were dorky for sure, but I thought they were cool weapons. I'm with Boiled on this one. I think they're really cool. Definitely let me know down in the comment section if you guys thought these weapons were cool or not, but I thought they were dope. So that fight was cool, and then we get a little break with the other chick, and fighting the two girls fighting, and I love the whole like joke about the drunk fighting is interesting. Drunken fist style, it's another manga trope that you see every once in a while, and it's funny. But I love that she gets like weepy when like when the torture starts happening. That was really funny. So that was good. But then what I really loved is seeing Sakamoto revert back to the young Sakamoto, the skinny Sakamoto, and he just like walks out of the dust looking really intimidating. First of all, there's that picture of Boyle where it looks like knives are going through, and I understand that that's not like really happening, but that was really good artwork, especially for this mangaka, who I don't think is that great of an artist, but that was really awesome artwork, I thought. So I wanted to highlight it almost just for that. But I just loved seeing that. I loved seeing that he was able to like scare Boyle that much, and then he's back, and I'm so excited to see if they have like a proper fight in the next chapter. I'd be really interested to see that. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for you this week. Thanks so much for listening to this video. If you have anything to say, leave it down in the comment section below. I'd love to interact with your comments about anything, Shonen Jump related, manga related, whatever. Definitely leave it down in the comment section. Also, like this video if you liked anything I had to say, and subscribe to my channel. I bring you these weekly newsletter videos every single week, along with usually some kind of midweek video. So definitely be looking for that this week, as well as the Pillow Fort podcast. We just put up episode 10, going over the Goldie Pond arc of The Promised Neverland. So definitely get on that. And if you want to join us next week, we're going to be going over the Kubitazawa arc of The Promised Neverland. So definitely, I think it's chapters like 96 to 112. So, but yeah, anyway, subscribe to the channel for all these videos. But for now, this is Shonen Express signing off.